One of the things I'm learning how to incorporate in my life is learning how to be more grateful. Because when life gets difficult, when things turn south, it's easy for us to focus on the negative. It's easy for us to focus on how bad the situation is or how bad it can get. It's easy for us to start questioning our lives, to start questioning whether God exists, to start questioning whether He sees our suffering, or whether He's going to show up for us, and whether we're ever going to get out of that situation. And I can understand that, because sometimes there is nothing else to focus on rather than how bad the situation is. We cannot find any reason to smile. We cannot find any reason to keep going. We cannot find any reason to even show up for ourselves. That's how bad the situations can be. Sometimes the situations are very, very critical that we feel like this is our end. Like we cannot see, like we're just gonna die here. And I can understand how difficult it can be, but I want to encourage you today to not give up, to not lose hope. Keep trusting God, and He's definitely going to show up for you. And learn how to be grateful. Learn how to practice gratitude, because it really does pay. Gratitude can be a very strong force of reassurance. Gratitude can reassure you when you've lost hope. Gratitude can also bring some sense of peace and some sense of calm in your life when things seem very chaotic. The day I realized that no condition is permanent and nothing is promised in this life was the day I almost met with my end. On the 18th of October 2021, I had a very critical accident that almost cost me my life. I had lost about 3 liters of blood. A piece of metal went into my throat, and it damaged some blood vessels. They had to do some repairs. I had a broken jaw. My face was literally slanted like this, and it was very difficult. And in that moment where I had the accident, all I was praying for was that, God, please give me another chance. Not anything else. Was that, God, please give me another chance. I did not care whether my face was broken. I did not care whatever had happened to the other parts of my body. All I was asking for, God, please give me another chance. And I made a lot of promises. God, I'm going to testify of your name. I'm going to follow you for the rest of my life. I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep on sharing my testimony with people. Even though a lot of those things that I promised God on that day, I still do not do them every single day like I promised I would do. I'm glad that that situation happened to me, because it brought me like my greatest gift that life has ever given me, or God has ever given me. And that is to know myself beyond this body. Ever since that situation happened to me, I became free, because I was always living in a shell where I was shy. I was not very outspoken. This person you see today is a totally different person, and this person came as a result of that accident. And so sometimes our greatest pain could be our greatest blessing. The situation that seems to be like is the one that is going to kill you may be the one that will bring your biggest breakthrough. The reason I decided to talk about gratitude today was because yesterday in the office, a colleague of mine I was sitting with them, and we were working on a Google Ads campaign, and he looked at my neck. He said, "Bro, what happened to your neck? I've been meaning to ask you that question for a very long time." I told him I had an accident. It was like motorbike. I said, "No, I had a car accident." He said, "So how come that you have a huge scar on your neck?" I told him it's because a piece of metal had gone into my neck. And when I showed him the pictures, he was like, "Oh my God, man, that was like a narrow escape." I'm like, "Bro, I just thank God that I'm still here." Because sometimes we lose sight of everything else that is going well for us, everything else that is okay in our lives, and tend to focus on that negative. When you keep on focusing on that negative, you only attract more negative energy. You only attract bad situations. It's time for you to learn and understand that when you're practicing how to be grateful, or when you're being grateful, you're creating a space around you that allows for more positive things to come in. As I have understood, or come to understand in life, is that life is all about energy. And I came to really understand this, like I said, after that accident happened to me. I was able to rise to a certain level of consciousness where I was living beyond this body. To know myself beyond this body, it's like the greatest gift that God has ever given me, and it's something that I pray that people get to experience. Maybe not through accidents, but just for you to taste what it is like to live as a spirit, to access that spiritual side that is within you, that is controlling your decisions, and that is ever present. That was what I was able to get out of it. I know I have ranted a little bit trying to gather my thoughts here, but this is like a very important subject to me, because it's my reason to keep on going every day and to keep on encouraging people, because I know that people are going through various things in their lives, some of them worse than we may even comprehend. And every day it's easy for us to just focus on how difficult and tough things are for us, to focus on how hard things are in front of us, and not realize that we are actually doing better in the grand scheme of things. Just for the fact that one or two things are not going your way does not mean that your life is bad. There are other people having it worse. I know life is a single player game, but when you look out, sometimes you have to take a bird's eye view of life and understand that life is beyond you and you do not have control over a lot of things. The day I had the accident, if somebody had told me that you were going to have an accident this day, I would have argued with that person, because nothing about that day seemed like I was going to have an accident. And so life would hit you sometimes like that in the face when you are unexpected. When you're not expecting it, it will hit you, and it will hit you hard. But in that moment, it's your moment of transformation. You can either use that moment and have a reason to complain for the rest of your life, or you can use that moment and let it transform you to becoming somebody that is fortified. Every hard situation that you go through will fortify you, and you can take good things out of it. So I just want to encourage you today that no matter how hard it is for you, my brother, no matter how hard it is for you, my sister, it is going to pass. Just make sure that you try as much as possible to cultivate a positive energy around you. Just cultivate a positive space, a space where you cannot get so much involved with all the trouble that is going on. Just withdraw away from the trouble a little bit. It is not denial. It is understanding that you won't let that situation break you. You won't let that situation become your reality. I will hope that makes a difference for you today. I wish you all the very best, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.